If you're a business owner or entrepreneur actively trying to improve your body shape, your weight, basically your health, one of the questions you may have posed to yourself is, do I need a coach to help me achieve that goal quicker? Or you may have been someone that's previously used a personal trainer or online coach in the past that you didn't have a great experience with and you're simply looking for a better coach moving forward. So in this episode of the Kirk Miller Podcast, which I'm delighted to welcome you to, I'm going to explain what it actually takes to make a great coach and 15 things you should look for if you're thinking about investing in one and working with one. And to be transparent, I'm not trying to say I know it all, but I know what it takes to make and be a great coach, having been mentored by some unbelievable coaches myself, which have helped master my craft from all around the world. I've spent thousands of pounds working with some unbelievable mentors and dedicated hundreds, if not thousands of hours trying to become the best coach possible, but learning from people who are more experienced than me in given fields. Because the harsh reality is this, there are so many coaches out there now, personal trainers, and if I think back to when I did my personal training qualification, it's not hard to get a piece of paper saying you're a qualified personal trainer. A lot of these accreditations are dished out very easily because their goal is to pass as many people as possible, and they want as many people as possible to invest in their course. It's a business. So the pass rates are phenomenally high. And I remember being on my personal training course thinking, how are some of these people getting passed when they couldn't even demonstrate a squat, they couldn't communicate, they weren't even in shape. And I think that's a minimum requirement if you're going to invest in a coach, is they have to, demonstrate what you're asking them to teach you to do and achieve. Okay. And I'm friends with some great coaches. So the 15 things I'm going to go through today, every single one of my friends who are great coaches, they all have these things in abundance that I'm going to go through. And also, to be straight up, with any coach or coaching program, who says they have the perfect solution for every single person of every single demographic is probably a generalist. All right, they've probably got a massively scalable product, completely generic, and if you're not where you want to be, and you've maybe worked with some of these coaches or programs in the past or explored certain apps, that was probably the problem. It wasn't the right fit for you. Okay, so as I'm going to go through today, hopefully it should open up a whole new level of awareness of things that you should look for before you invest your hard-earned money into a great coach. Because it has to be the right fit for you. What we specialize in, obviously, with Built to Last and the Kirk Miller brand is obviously business owners, generally age 40 plus. Anyone who's younger than that, generally, I take on it. It's because they're driven. I don't work with like broken individuals. These are people who work with, they've achieved great things in business. They're successful, they're wealthy, but they know they're falling short a little bit with their physical capabilities, and they know there's another level of their confidence and their mindset, okay? So that's who we work with, right? And if you're probably not in that bracket, I'm probably not a good fit for you. So even though I'm going to tell you today what makes a great coach, it doesn't mean that, I am the perfect fit for you. If you're a business owner, entrepreneur looking to go to another level, I certainly am. I believe we're as good as anyone on the planet doing that, but if, for example, you are, a complete beginner, you're in your 20s, there are probably better coaches for you suited to your needs. But the things I'm going to go through today, right, they should have, before you invest in them. All right, okay. So let's get straight into it. Number one, all of them are important, but ultimately, when you're investing in a coach, you're trying to achieve a result and a new standard that you've not been able to achieve or sustain by yourself. So number one is they must have evidence that they can solve your problem, right? Because the harsh reality is this: it's not hard for any coach, fitness professional to copy and paste a marketing post or steal someone else's copy that they might have saw on an Instagram page, for example, and then post it themselves. And as a result of that, sort of putting on the front end that they're an expert, okay? It proves nothing, really. What I mean by evidence that can solve the problem, there must be physical transformation proof that relates to you, that they can take you from where you are physically to where you want to be, and they have countless testimonials to do that. Because anyone can sell the dream, say the right marketing words, shoot the greatest video in the world, right? Telling you what they're going to do, right? But have they demonstrated it that they can solve that problem, okay, through physical transformations? And then not just physical transformations, and this is why every single time I post a transformation, for example, from one of our guys, I always stress when I'm sharing stuff on my stories and my post, the words our clients say are just as important as the physical transformation. Of course, that's like the bait at the front that sucks people in, it grabs the attention. But for me, what's just as important is what a client writes or what a client says in a video testimonial, for example. Because ultimately, any great coach is just as obsessed with how they're making a client feel as well as how they look. They work together, of course, Ultimately, if you're investing in a health and fitness program, there is an element of that where you want to transform your body. Let's not fuck about or paper over anything here. You're paying to get a physical result. But ultimately, people who want a physical result are probably trying to change how they feel about themselves internally as well. So when you are looking for evidence from a prospective coach who you might be wanting to invest in, look at the words, written words, videos of, the clients that coach may have worked with, because that is transparent. It's from the heart, because ultimately bodies can fluctuate here and there, okay? And ultimately when you're posting your transformation, that is the client, in their best physical shape at that point in the journey with the coach, all right? So be just as, attention to detail orientate with going, right, what is that client saying about that coach or that coaching service, all right? And make sure as well, when you're looking for evidence that this coach can solve a problem, that the clients that coach works with have similar challenges to yourself and relate to you and your lifestyle, okay? So if you are, for example, a business owner looking to drop a bit more fat, take your strength, your body composition to another level, right? Your energy, just basically become, a fucking absolute machine. Has the coach concerned demonstrated that they can do that, okay? Like that's relative to you and your goals also, all right? So you must have evidence. There must be social proof, all right? Because just to elaborate on this a little bit, and maybe this is something I was maybe guilty of a little bit in my earlier coaching days. You can have a great physique, right, as a coach, influencer, right? There's so many people now on social media ripped to fuck or in great shape. It doesn't always make you a great coach, all right? Because one thing that I think makes a shit coach is thinking that what's got them in shape, right, is the only way that people can get in shape. So, for example, if you are exploring working with a coach and they eat 6 meals a day, weigh everything to the gram to get themselves in shape, right? If that's not going to work for you, that method that's got that coaching shape isn't going to be good work for you. And I think so many coaches are fucking lazy going, this has worked for me, so this has to work for someone else, especially when it comes to food management, all right? So just make sure as well, yes, your coach should be in shape and practice what they preach, but they must also have evidence that they can transform people who maybe weren't as genetically gifted or, came to them with a slightly different set of challenges in relation to their personal, professional, social lifestyle, all right? Number 2, a great coach, they need to truly understand your world, right? And that might sound a bit deep, but the first thing I'm trying to understand when I'm ever going to work with someone is I need to understand their world personally, professionally, emotionally. What are their current physical capabilities? What is their social lifestyle? What are their current beliefs? What are the needs that are really driving them? What do they value? And what is their current identity, their description of themselves? All right? Because it is actually, it's physically impossible, right, to really maximize your potential with your mind, your body, your confidence, if that coach or that coaching program doesn't understand like your world, personally, professionally. right? Because we all have different work hours. We all have an individual relationship. We have different kids with different ages. We have different beliefs based on past. Some of us might be have been more sporty in the past. Some of us maybe not so sporty, and this can affect beliefs of what a client believes they're capable of in terms of taking their body to another level. But understanding a coach understanding your values as well is massive, because they have to. A great coach will relate your goal of looking better, improving health, taking energy to another level. Whatever your outcome goal is, a great coach will understand, right, and articulate to you how that goal will support the things you value most. So say, for example, one of your highest values is family and business and wealth. A great coach needs to understand and articulate to you, by improving physical shape, health, energy, that's going to support the things that you value most, because everything works together. And I think lazy coaches, training plan, diet plan, no shit, that's the minimum requirement needed to get someone in shape. But if they don't understand what you value, at some point your motivation is going to dip. You're not going to be able to stick to that diet plan. You're not going to want to get the training session in. But if a coach and a coaching service truly understands your needs, your values, emotionally where you're at, mentally where you're at, they're going to say and steer you in the right direction to do the right things, to push you forward. Because ultimately, as I'll come on to in the latter points, a great coach is there to stretch your potential, but they're not going to do that if they don't know where your current physical and mental capabilities are, and also where your beliefs are, all right? Because ultimately, if you're trying to create lasting change, and this is what we're absolutely obsessed with inside Built to Last, that's going to come down to identity, right? So many people don't change long term, and I've said this on previous podcasts, because they're held back by their current beliefs based on what they've previously achieved or not achieved, okay? Right, you need people to stretch your identity, but in order for a coach to stretch your identity, right, and raise standards, they need to understand where your current identity is in terms of how you describe yourself in relation to your how you actually describe your health just now, how you describe yourself when you look in the mirror when no one else is around, all right, and what you value, and a great coach will expand on that. And number 3, which follows on from that, is a great coach will have 100% clarity with the outcome you want and the true why, basically the true motivation behind achieving that goal and outcome. All right? Because if you and the coach aren't 100% clear with the actual outcome you want and the true why behind it, that will let you down at some point in your journey, okay? And sometimes I've had calls with clients where they couldn't actually articulate the exact goal they wanted, and I think that has been a large reason why they failed in the past. It was flimsy. It wasn't strong enough in terms of maybe language or specific words, and more specifically, they weren't emotionally attached to how achieving that goal was going to make them feel. And it's also staggering how many people, when they're setting goals, don't really understand what their true why is behind achieving that goals. Because whether you're a business owner or not, if you are trying to improve your body shape, your weight, your health, basically, it's never about the 10 to 20 pound fat loss. Yes, of course, that's a KPI, which is maybe needed to get a bit leaner, for example, but it's never about that. Ultimately, when we are setting a goal, we are trying to change how we feel about ourselves, our body, and usually for a greater purpose, all right? So a great coach will abstract your deeper meaning behind achieving that goal, right? If a coach isn't really drawing out a true why, it's a matter of time before you fail. And this is maybe why you haven't quite got to the level you have before, because you didn't understand the true why behind achieving that goal, right? Or maybe your outcome wasn't clear enough. Because if you think about maybe other areas of your life where you have hit a goal, it could be a professional status or a certain financial target you've hit, I can almost guarantee you were razor sharp, right? And had razor sharp clarity of, right, that is the outcome I want, and this is the deeper meaning behind that goal. Because as I've said many times on previous podcasts, Motivation will dip. There'll be some days, some weeks where you don't want to eat healthy, don't want to move, or you maybe want to back off in intensity in your training session, right? And you're not going to get to where you want to be if we're doing these things too frequently, all right? And we all have these drops in energy where we don't want to do certain things. But if you and the coach, right, are crystal clear with the outcome, right, and the why, that will be the thing that the coach and the coaching service program, etc., will remind you of, when you want to fall back into that old you and you want to let standards drop. Because ultimately, as I've just touched on, a great coach, great coaching service is there to expand and stretch your capabilities, all right? But in order for them to do that, they need to understand, as I said just a second ago, what your current capabilities are, but more importantly, where is it you actually want to go, all right? And what is the emotional reason and the deeper impact on the quality of your life when you do hit that goal? Because that'll be the thing that, for example, we are always reminding our clients of, why did you start? Think of how you were on that first phone call with me. Think of where you were emotionally, with your confidence, right? And why you actually wanted to achieve that goal and why it was important. Because people forget. How many times have you started a fitness journey, right? You've had that initial spurge of motivation for the first few weeks, or maybe you've maintained ruthless consistency for 3, 4, 5, 6 months, but then life got in the way, business pressures got demanding, and just standards drop. And for me, that's where we need to revisit the why. What's the deeper meaning behind going to that next level, all right? But the coach needs to be the person that reminds you of that frequently too, all right? Number 4, a great coach will instill confidence, belief, and energy, right? If a coach doesn't have unwavering confidence, belief, and energy, they can't give you that, or they can't help install that. You can't give what you don't have, right? So any coach you invest in, make sure they have unwavering confidence and they install that belief in you, that no matter how many times you've failed, or maybe whatever roadblocks you might have had with your food, your training, your movement, or just, managing your lifestyle just now, right? In terms of taking your body to another level, right? They need to leave any phone call you may have, right, with unwavering belief that no matter what I haven't achieved before, I know now this coach has given me the confidence to believe that anything is possible, all right? And I'm going to feed off that confidence, that belief, that energy to take me to another level, all right? So make sure any great coach, right, is injecting energy and confidence in you, because everything, don't forget, is a transfer of energy, right? And you probably do that yourself to some degree in your career, with your kids, partner, friends. You are probably that beacon of hope, confidence, and belief and energy for other people in your life to raise their standards and be a great role model, be a great leader, great businessman, etc. Your coach needs to do the same, right, for you, okay? Number 5, a great coach, they need to master skill sets, right? They must have superpowers, right? They must have superpowers. Or if they haven't got certain superpowers, they hire people with other superpowers, right? From my experience, and this is, again, being transparent with myself, I have certain superpowers. I believe I'm as good as any coach on the planet in terms of helping take someone's mindset and beliefs to another level, confidence to another level. Why? Because I know what it's like to not have that confidence and belief, all right? So I know I can see the flaws, I can see the patterns, all right? And also ruthless consistency with my physical shape. I've been in shape for over 23 years. I know exactly what it takes to get someone in great shape and keep them there, irrelevant of age, circumstances, challenges. And I know exactly what to say at the right time, as do my team, right, when people's mindsets want to let them down, right? But I also have people within my coaching service who have mastered even deeper level of skill sets, such as nutrition. Right, Chris Lowe is our head of client performance, for example, oversees all of our nutrition, and performance strategies with all clients. He's better than me in that given area. So make sure that in relation to the problems you need help with most, or need that extra 10, 20% extra of expertise, make sure the coach you invest in, right, has the required skill sets, and is not just good in that area, is a fucking master, right? Because you're only going to go as far as the skill set of the coach and the coaching service you invest in. So make sure that they're not just good at a certain thing, they are masters in that given area. And again, just as I said at the start, they have evidence that they can help solve problems in those given areas because they have the skill sets to solve those problems and the expertise in that given area, all right? Number 6, a great coach will teach you to think better, right? And they'll challenge your current level of thinking. Because, like, from my experience, if people aren't where they want to be, even if you are someone who is a regular gym goer, got a pretty good body, but you know there's more, if you're not where you want to be, you know there's another level inside you, you probably haven't had someone challenge you to think better than you currently do. Because ultimately, what you think about influences what you focus on, right? And what you focus on, you become, all right? So a great coach will teach you how to think better and focus on what you actually want and who you're trying to become and the body you're trying to build. They'll help you evaluate better and help you make better decisions. And ultimately, how you look is going to be a byproduct of how you prepare, how you evaluate, and the decisions you make with your food, your training, your movement, okay? Whether you make proactive decisions or you make the best possible decisions in relation to your weekly setup or your monthly setup, for example, right? They'll steer you in the right direction, all right? So make sure that a great coach will challenge you to think better, right? And positively be thought-provoking with your current level of thinking, because you're only going to go as far with your body as your current level of thinking, all right? Think about maybe where you've stretched someone's potential. It might have been your kid who was a little bit doubting themselves at some point. You know, they maybe said they couldn't do something sport-related or do a certain, thing at home, whatever it may be, or maybe a team member who was doubting whether they could do something. I can almost guarantee you challenged their level of thinking and got them focusing on what they could do and where they were trying to go, and help them make better decisions to push through that threshold to go to another level. And that's what a great coach will do. They'll be thought-provoking, they'll challenge you to think better, so you focus better, make better decisions. Ultimately, your body, shape, weight, and health is the byproduct of the decisions you make, okay? And number 7 ties in with that beautifully. What helps you, create a higher level of thinking is a great coach will ask you great questions, right? The quality of our life generally is down to the quality of questions we ask ourselves. And I think a lot of people with their health, fitness, and fat loss, right, the reason they hit a plateau or they maybe get to 60, 70, 80% of their potential is at that point they don't ask themselves better questions. Or if they are not as consistent as they want to be, they don't ask themselves the right questions in that given moment, right? And we have a philosophy inside Built to Last, right, where we want to discuss with you to help you solve the problem. Because one thing I've realized with coaching and having great mentors, the likes of Brendan Bouchard, for example, for me is an absolute animal when it comes to high performance. He's a king of asking the right questions, and this really helped take my coaching ability and our team's coaching ability to a whole nother level, is a discuss, don't solve mentality. Yes, of course, that might contradict a little bit what I said at point 1 of solving the problem, but we want to help you solve the problem by making you feel like you've made the decision, okay? Because when a great coach asks you the right question and you feel like you are then making the decision to improve your food, your training, your movement, whatever it is that's maybe holding you back just now and going to another level, when you feel like you're making the decision as a result of a coach asking you the right question for you to then answer what you need to do more of, you're more likely to follow through. A shit coach will continually dictate, do this, do that, do that. And of course we have done that. And every now and then we break the pattern of communication by doing that. But you are far more likely to follow through when you feel like you've made the decision. And to do that, great coaching will make you feel like you've made the decision by asking better questions. So a couple of examples I've got here in my notes is, say if you're ever hit a point in your journey where you're doubting whether or not you can train that little bit harder, or maybe you can get that movement in, or maybe you can become even more consistent, or it might be a belief issue, for example, of, I can't do that. Okay, the famous words, I can't do that, or maybe I'm not quite good enough to go to that next level. Great question is, how do you know this is true? How do you know this is true? Right, so for example, if you know, like at the minute, you're not where you want to be, and you're just doubting yourself, well, can I actually do that? Right? How do you know this is true? Right? Because a lot of the time, we can make challenges bigger than what they need to be. But ask yourself, even in that example, how do you know this is true? What evidence do you have in your life that you can't do something? All right. And then if you're stuck, for example, one question we use regularly with our clients, because every single client, even our grade A high performers who you might have seen their transformation on social media, every single person at some point, right, will hit a roadblock, a challenge, or the consistency might drop a little bit. It's at that point you need a coach to ask you the right question. So a great question, for example, that all coaches should be asking you at that point, right, is when you feel at your healthiest, happiest, and most confident, what habits do you do more of? What do you do less of? Because I can almost guarantee if you've made progress in the past, for example, with your health and your fitness, where you might have dropped fat, 5, 10, 20 pounds, whatever it is, where you've got fitter, you've got stronger, and you felt healthier, happier, more confident, more consistent, it would have been because you were doing more of certain habits and less of certain habits, right? Because if we're feeling great, we're healthier, we're feeling more confident, that would be the outcome based on the habits and the system that's creating that. So what do you do more of and what do you do less of when you're healthier, happier, and more confident? Okay, just a couple of examples. And we have catalogs of questions that we use with our clients. Another great one, often when we get stuck, we don't think of what we would maybe say to ourselves in the future, given our advice, looking back. And I've used this on previous podcasts. But if you ever get stuck, what would my best future self say, do, or choose in this situation? It just gets you focusing on what you can do again, and you, with wisdom of looking forward, looking then back on yourself right now, you're probably going to make a better decision. Okay, it's more aligned to the outcome you want. Okay, so great coaching. Make sure, even when you are maybe on a discovery call or sales call with a coach, that they're asking good questions. Okay, because this is what separates great coaches from mediocre coaches, in my opinion. All right. Number 8, a great coach will prioritize process and habits just as much, if not more, as focusing on the outcome. Yes, as I've said, on one of my previous points, you need to know what your outcome is. You need to know the why. But what's going to take you there? Just like this would have took you there in terms of your current career status, your current level of wealth, right? Or the areas of your life that are currently going well. It's your process, your system, and your habits. A great coach will focus on the day-to-day routine. They'll simplify your daily system of what you actually need to do to create that outcome. And that comes down to your habits that you're doing on a daily basis, right? And just go deeper than that in terms of process and habits. A great coach will simplify the 1 to 3 habits you need to focus on most on a given day, right? That are going to move you forward quicker to the outcome that you want. They will basically simplify what you need to do, right? Because it can be very overwhelming sometimes of going, right, okay, I'm trying to take my body to another level, but I'm trying to factor in 50, 60 hours of work. I've got a partner, I've got kids, I've got life, right? And the golden excuse, I'm busy, I've got a lot on, right? It's absolute bullshit. Everyone's busy, right? But a great coach will go, right, in relation to that person's personal, professional lifestyle, what are the things they need to do on a day-to-day basis as part of their daily routine, right, that are going to help them win, that are going to help them eat better, train better, move better, right, without contradicting, right, and complicating their personal, professional, social lifestyle. They will simplify what you need to do. They won't go, here's 20 different things to do, and then you're so overwhelmed that you don't do them and follow through, okay? But they'll help you focus on what matters most, and focusing on process and habits are going to take you to your goal a lot quicker, all right? Because your system is what drives the goals. Number 9, a great coach, they'll be the standard you want to emulate. Repeat that. A great coach, right, will be the standard you want to emulate, from how they train, eat, move, speak, right, live, their consistency, right? You're only going to go as far as the leadership you invest in when it comes to your health, fitness, and body goals, right? It's ludicrous to invest in a coach who is on the same level or worse as you. It's madness. If I've ever, really expanded my potential in given areas, whether it's business, whether it's body, any area really of my life, it's because I've had someone who was operating at a higher standard than me with how they thought, how they they acted, what they actually did on a day-to-day basis, right? And the level of consistency. It forced me to step up, all right? And I think just to layer that even more, a great coach will never, ever be off it, right? And again, this might, be a little bit too heavy for some people, but do you really want to invest in a fucking coach who has periods of inconsistency? They're emotionally reactive, destructive behavior patterns, they float in and out of shape, their language patterns, 1 minute they're positive, then they're negative. Basically, they're just not consistent with their own personal standards, because that's going to rub off. You're only going to go as far as that. Or do you want to work with a coach who is consistent and has a never off it mentality? Because I don't believe anyone, and I'm sure this will relate to you, given the choice, do you want to be on it all year in terms of feeling healthy, fit, confident year round, or do you want to have periods where you're on it, you're off it, you're on it, you're off it? And if you want to be on it consistently, make sure the coach that you invest in, the coaching service, they're always on it. It's what we're obsessed with inside Built to Last, right? It's exactly that. I don't want people feeling good for a month or two out of the year and then feeling like shit for, the following month or two out of the year, right? It's about consistency. Because ultimately, when you're feeling consistent within yourself, you're going to be happier, you're going to look better, perform better, and ultimately, show up as the best you in your relationships, okay? So make sure your coaches operate at a higher standard that you wish to emulate. Number 10, really, really great coaches. And I have some great conversations and catch-ups with many, many friends who operate with this. They forward think and they pay attention to details. Because when you have a coach who is forward thinking your potential challenges before they happen, like for example, inside Built to Last, we know what challenges are going to happen at certain seasons of the year. During the summer, we know people are going to be traveling more, they're on holiday more. Okay, what do we need to do with their food? Like, what education do we need to provide them? What touch points, what PDFs, what resources are going to help them at that given period of the year, right? Details matter, especially if you're listening to this as a high performer in business and right, you're in good shape now, but there's another level. Attention to details matter. There'll be something within your food or the way you train at certain periods of the year that could be 10, 20% higher. And in order to do that, you need a coach who is going to really magnify what you're actually eating, how you're actually training, how much you're actually moving, and more importantly, where your mindset's at as well, in relation to the periods of year where you've got another level inside you, all right? A great coach will notice patterns over periods of the year, right? There are fundamental things you need to do to be in shape year round, which is train regularly, move regularly, eat well, right? Sleep, drink water, basically the core drivers. But if it was that simple, why aren't there millions and millions of more people actually looking the way they want to? And I'll tell you why. It's because they haven't upgraded their patterns of thought, their decision-making at certain periods of the year, especially when, time is more pressured, stress is high, and, you might have a particular set of social challenges or occasions to experience, and you need a different strategy, okay? So attention to detail matters. So make sure your coach is attention to detail orientated and they forward think, all right? Number 11, a great coach, they'll tell you the truth and they won't let you coast. Okay? I have a phenomenal relationship with all of my clients, as do my team, right? If you've checked out any of my work, the events, the community we have some great fun, we laugh, we have banter, all these different things. But as I say to them, they're paying me to get a result, right? I'm not there to be anyone's best friend. They're fucking investing to get a result that they've not been able to achieve or sustain, as I keep saying, right? In order to do that, you need to get told the truth. And you can't have a coach who's going to let you coast, right? Even with our check-in systems, we have green, amber, red. Amber is someone coasting. If someone's coasting 2 check-ins on the bounce, we flag that because no one's invested in us to coast. Deep down, you've not invested in a coaching program, or you certainly don't want to, with a coach who's going to let you coast and keep happily taking your money. And if you're not progressing, be okay with that. It's not on. As I say to all people who come and work with us, we don't want to waste people's money. We don't want to waste our time because it's fucking boring as a coaching service. And coaches with high standards, and my friends who are great coaches too, echo this. It's boring when you've got someone in your program just coasting, right? So you need a coach at that point who's going to tell you the truth and go, look, I think you're underperforming. Yes, you can have maintenance months and all this sort of stuff, but you haven't invested in this program to be a maintenance person, and just coast. Otherwise, you're better off just, doing your own thing and just accepting it. You're never going to get where you want to be, all right? Because the harsh reality is this. If you've never mastered ruthless consistency or been in optimal shape year to year, right? For 12 months of the year, every single year, right? You have periods of the year where the old you wants to creep back in, or you just want to lower your standards. And the truth is this: if you're trying to achieve a result with your body, your health, your energy, your confidence you've never been able to achieve or sustain before, you need to do something that you've never done before. And what's going to help is a coach who is communicating with you at the right moments. Step up. You've got more in the tank, right? I think performance has dropped. Boom. What do we need to do to raise the game again? All right. That's good coaching. Okay. They'll stretch your capabilities. Number 12. A great coach is professional. They're organized. They're disciplined. A great coach is professional. They're organized. They're disciplined. Right? When you've got a coach who is not organised, they're unprofessional, and they lack discipline, that will rub off. You must have heard the quote, who you're around you become. So if you've got a coach with piss poor standards, they're disorganised, they lack discipline, they're unprofessional, again, you're only going to go as far as them. It will rub off, 100%. Right? A professional, disciplined coach who's organised will be proactive with their decisions, they'll spot things quicker, they'll be more effective, and they'll make you become more effective also. And I don't want to patronise you. If you're a business owner who is extremely professional, organised and disciplined, great, but you shouldn't be more professional, organised or disciplined than the fucking coach you're investing in to help you go to another level with your health and body. Absolutely not. All right? So just make sure your coach is organised, professional and disciplined. All right? Because discipline is what creates consistency and confidence and momentum. All right? Because motivation, as I've said many times before, it won't last. But if you're disciplined, you're organised, then you'll keep moving forward. Okay? Coming to the last few now. Number 13. I think this is maybe not just a trait of a great coach, but I think great leaders in general. And I think some of the mentors that I look up to, and a lot of the people that I've worked with to help me be better across training, food, movement, personal development, mindset, etc. They influence you even when you're not with them. I call this like the ripple effect. You just have that voice in your head from them. When standards want to slip, because let's be honest, it's very easy to eat well, train well, get your movement in when someone's like watching you. But the reality is this, in 168 hours a week, you're not going to have a camera on you, 24/7. And especially when it comes to food, you will want to eat shit when no one's watching, when stress is high, and you're going to want to maybe cut corners a little bit, or maybe not push yourself that extra weight in a session, or you might want to maybe not get as many steps in, or maybe go to bed consistently a little bit later. But if you've got a great coach who operates for high standards in these given things, they will influence your behavior even when they're not with you, okay? Consciously and subconsciously, all right? Because I really believe that great leaders create leaders, and you've probably done that in your career as a business owner and, as an entrepreneur, right? You've rubbed off just by your behavior, okay? So a great coach wants to be someone who, again, has proof again that they can influence behavior when they're not with you. Because I think great leaders influence you in the moment with personal communication, but they'd have a lasting effect on you when you're not with them. And then as a result of that, for me, even greater coaches and leaders, they won't just influence you when you're not with them, but they'll influence you to be that inspired to then influence the people that you love most and maybe want to rub off, especially when it comes to your health. So for example, a lot of our clients who've got kids, nearly all of them in fact, because they've gone to another level with their own leadership capabilities, they're actually even better role models now. And as a result of that, they're rubbing off on the people they love most, because of the ripple effect from our coach's service down. So just make sure that, you have a coach who is influencing far beyond the communication whenever you're engaging with them. All right. And number 14, a great coach, when it's all said and done, they need to make everything about you. Everything about you. I saw a lot of coaches in the past, or in the industry, especially when I was going to exhibitions and you're in communication with certain clients, they talk about themselves too much, right? I will use examples from my story to inspire a client, but ultimately it's trying to, again, further demonstrate to them that if I can, they can. But everything needs to be about you. A great coach will go above and beyond for you to fulfill your needs and meet the expectations you're investing in, right? Everything about you, right? From a mindset perspective, a lifestyle perspective, right? A program delivery, a service perspective, a great coach will make everything about you, from where you are to where you want to be, and what do they need to help you do to go to another level and meet the expectation. Because ultimately, when you invest in a coach, it's to meet an expectation on the investment that you've made, okay? Then the last one, I probably inadvertently did this over the previous points, but a great coach will push your character. They'll push your character mentally, emotionally, physically, your beliefs, your identity, as I keep boring everyone to death with on these podcasts. Ultimately, when we're trying to take our body to another level, we're trying to see ourselves in a different way, we're trying to develop our character, our identity, we're trying to improve how we see ourselves. And that'll be a combination of how we feel about ourselves, how we feel about our body when we look in the mirror and when we're by ourselves, and also the conversations in our own mind, okay? Right? But a great coach will stretch your capabilities and, more importantly, push that character, all right? Great coaches are paid to push, and that ties in with not letting you coast, right? Because remember this, everything we do is to fulfill a need in some way, and I may have spoke about this on previous podcasts, but the two spiritual needs, that these aren't beliefs, they're not values, these are needs that every single human needs to hit, right? Are growth and contribution. So why it's so important that a great coach, or the coach you invest in, pushes your character, it's to make you continually grow, right? Because when you stop growing, that's when destructive behavior patterns kick in, because you're not feeling like you're moving forward, okay? So a great coach needs to make sure you're continually growing, because yes, you can have, again, maintenance periods and stuff, but you're either growing or you're not. And often when we feel negative emotions or feel a little bit flat, it's because we've stopped growing. How many times have maybe you hit a goal, a financial target or a business target, and go, I'll be happy when I hit that goal. You're happy for 2 minutes, and then because you didn't set a new goal, that's when standards start to slip. You might get sloppy, you might eat more, drink more, or just feel a little bit flat, okay? So a great coach will continually stretch your vision and make sure you keep growing within your character, okay? Because ultimately, character is just as important as the body shape goals, okay? Because remember this as well, when you grow more, you can give more. Often when we achieve a goal, it allows us to give more, and that fulfills the other spiritual need, which is contribution. When you are feeling like you're making a bigger difference, you feel more important, it feels good. When you're influencing your children, you're influencing team, you can just basically get more done. You're able to help more people. This is the byproduct of a coach pushing your character, because you'll be able to grow more, you'll be able to give more, and as a result of that, you'll be able to contribute a lot more and feel better about yourself, okay, with what you're doing. And then, as always, 3 questions to end. I know this has been a little bit deep, even though obviously explaining what makes a good coach, but I just feel very frustrated sometimes, when I think about the millions of people, not maybe millions, but certainly thousands of shit coaches who've come into the game, right? Because they go, I'm in good shape, I'm going to make a career out of this. And public or people investing are none the wiser as they make that investment of, is this person actually a great coach and got genuine skin in the game and experience, and can he actually solve this problem? So that's why I'm so passionate about this subject. I'm friends with some great coaches, but I think there's too many shit coaches who are lazy, who don't further their education, they're not consistent, they don't practice what they preach, and they don't do the things that I've spoke about today. So I just want to make sure that you guys listen to this. are crystal clear on what it actually takes to make a great coach before you make that investment. Okay, but it's questions. Number one is, if you're not where you want to be right now, which 3 things from the 15 I've gone through today do you feel you need most from a coach? So if you've invested in a coach before, which 3 from a 15, it might be more, might be less, might be just 1, but which points and things that I've gone through today do you feel your coach didn't have? And if you are not where you want to be just now, which 3 things do you think would help you most from a coach helping you with your goals? All right, get clear on that, because then it's going to help you identify which coach has this attribute and has proof, right, before I make that investment in that coach. Number 2, how do you think you would look and feel in 1 year's time with high-performance coaching support? Let me repeat that. How do you think you'd look and feel in 1 year's time with world-class high-performance coaching support? So if you're not where you want to be, right, and you've tried countless things to help solve that, and you're not where you want to be, the harsh reality is you maybe need some help. So where do you think you'd be in a year's time if you had a coach who had all of the things I've gone through today? How do you think you'd look? How do you think you'd feel? Right? But we need to ask ourselves that question. Because if nothing changes, nothing changes. And if you haven't been able to do it by yourself just now, right, whether it's investing in me or someone else, maybe explore the possibility of working with a great coach. And how do you think you'd be? What impact would that have on your life? Okay? Number 3 is the opposite. How do you think you will look and feel in 1 year's time without coaching and accountability? Right? Because what I found with the beauty of coaching and accountability, it gets you to where you want to be a lot quicker. You know, when you're getting held accountable to, monthly targets, you have a specific roadmap of, right, this is where I am, this is where I'm going to go, and you're being held accountable and you actually know you're progressing, you're just going to change so much quicker. But if you don't look and feel the way you want to just now, if you don't have world-class coaching support, is anything going to change? Or, if you don't quite have the energy that you want just now, the confidence, energy, or you just know you could look a little bit better, is that going to change without coaching and accountability? And how do you think you'd feel if you're in the same position in a year's time? All right. Sometimes you need to ask, as I've said in today's episode, ask yourself these questions to give us the answer and direct us on the path we want to go. Okay. And then quote to finish, and the one and only Jim Rohn, absolutely love this guy. Don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. Don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. Bit of a tongue twister there. Let me say it again. It's not actually a tongue twister. Don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. When you're trying to hit a goal, if something is too easy, and of course, as a coach and even with a Built to Last, we want to make things as simple as possible, as I said, to achieve that goal. But if you don't have to work for it, if you don't have to become better, you'll never value that goal when you hit it, right? You have to work a little bit harder than what you're currently doing. You have to eat a little bit better than what you're currently doing. You have to move a little bit more maybe than what you're currently doing. Respect sleep a bit more if you're going to take your body to another level, all right? So don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. And a great coach will make you better, okay? And that is the harsh reality, right? If you're trying to go to where you've not been before, right, you need to become better. So, maybe reach out to a coach, whether it's me or someone more related, to your specific set of problems, if you're capable of becoming more. All right. Okay. So I know that was pretty heavy, but hopefully that should have really opened your eyes up to what to look for when you are investing in a coach and a coaching service, because I think things they had to have gone to another level the last few years. There's so many online coaches out there, all spouting similar marketing messages, but anyone can do that. But just make sure they have the attributes that I've gone through today. And more specifically, if you are a business leader, entrepreneur, age 40 plus, looking to get in the best physical, mental shape of your life, all right, and you are not where you want to be, me and my team, like all of the things I've gone through today, we over-deliver on these things, okay? And I can guarantee that, if you're not happy with where you want to be, we can 100% solve that. Okay. But thank you so much as always for listening. Love to hear your biggest takeaways, and please don't hesitate to reach out to me on social media also, and I'll see you next time.